South African authorities have updated to 18 the number of victims that resulted from Saturday's gas tanker explosion near Johannesburg. Initially, the authorities had announced 10 deaths. Of the 18 victims, half were staff working at Tambo Memorial Hospital, which suffered extensive damages due to the explosion. A total of 37 people at the hospital suffered serious burns. According to the authorities, the gas tanker explosion caused damages within a 500-meter radius. Images posted on social networks showed a huge fireball under the bridge. The tanker, which was presumably too high to fit under the bridge, was filled with 60,000 liters of LPG gas.
An Ethiopian government delegation was on its way to the capital of Tigray Monday for the first official visit by senior federal officials more than 2 years after the start of a conflict in the rebel region. The government spokesperson said in a statement on Facebook that the group of officials, led by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, is to oversee the implementation of the main points of the peace agreement signed on November 2 with the Tigrayan rebel authorities. The agreement provides for the disarmament of rebel forces, the re-establishment of federal authority in Tigray, and the reopening of access to the region. Since then, the fighting has stopped, food and medical aid is gradually arriving, and the rebels have announced that they have disengaged 65% of their fighters from the front lines. Representatives of the rebel authorities and the government have met several times, including twice in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, since the agreement was signed.
Sibusiso Sizatu, a former South African herdsman, is preparing to sail across the Atlantic. On 2nd January, he will set off from the southern tip of the African continent towards Brazil for the 50th edition of the legendary Cape to Rio yacht race, encompassing some 6,600 kilometers, as the longest sailing competition in the southern hemisphere.
To those who didn't believe that a guy like me who come from the rural area to a township can actually skip a boat across the ocean to Rio. So I think it's going to be an eye-opener for the youngsters out there, and they're going to start thinking hard about joining this kind of sport as well. So I am excited and I am very happy about the sport, and the team as well is very excited. But hopefully in the future, the timing is going to be more people of color joining the sport, because right now we think we're about 5% or something like that.
Sizatu said he found a supportive community in the Cape Town sailing world that helped him out, broadening his horizon along the way in understanding sailing. Now he's hoping to broaden more scope on this sport.
So it took a long time for me to actually make my family understand about this sport. Up until today, they still don't understand what I'm doing. Like, the only thing they ask, are you earning something? Are you working? Is that work? They say, yeah. So to call it work, don't call it sport, it's work. So if we say it's work, they accept it. If we say it's sport, they're always on your neck saying, you got a death wish, you're gonna die out there. So the easy way to escape was like, this is actually work, I'm working here, this is my work.
Sailing seemed a luxury pastime for wealthy retirees for Sisibo, as whirled away from life in the township where drugs and violence abounded, but money was in short supply. He is now hoping others will join suit in this sport to help build their careers and even away from drugs. Pape Alé Niang, a prominent Senegalese journalist and government critic who has been on a hunger strike to protest charges against him, has been moved to a hospital, according to his attorney. Niang was taken to hospital in Dakar on Saturday evening after his health deteriorated as a result of his latest hunger strike, according to Musa Sarr, one of his lawyers. In a case that has sparked international concern, Niang was arrested on November 6 and charged with divulging information likely to harm national defense. He went on a hunger strike on December 2nd and was later admitted to a clinic after his health deteriorated. He was given provisional release but arrested again on December 20th when he started another hunger protest. Niang, who is the head of the Dakar Matin online news site, is widely followed in Senegal for his regular columns on current affairs. The case against him arose after he wrote about rape charges being faced by the country's main opposition leader, Ousmane Sonko. He is accused of describing confidential message about security arrangement for Sonko's interview while investigators on November 3rd, according to trade unions.
A young artist in Kenya is using eggshells to create intricate pieces of art. The idea came to him as he was looking for materials to use in his paintings.
I get my raw materials from dump sites, from five-star hotels, and sometimes from vendors, and then I bring them to the studio, and then I clean them, paint them different colors. I cut them with a scalpel to form straight lines and particular pattern. I use a particular pattern, sometimes mostly triangles, and then I arrange them with a toothpick. Most people think when they see at first sight, they think it's paper or plastic, but when I tell them it's eggshells, they are like, wow, real patience, real patience. So it's like engaging people in my work, making people come closer, making people look into more details. Yeah, and also I think it makes people even look at other arts and all the arts differently.
Miko Banda is part of an artists collective in Nairobi. His works are inspired by the streets of his neighborhood as well as his mother.
I'm inspired by my street, and mostly my mother, and I try to also capture the women power because I've been raised by a single mother, so I try to capture different moments where she used to be so loving, so caring, and also how she used to work hard so as to pay for my fees and my siblings' fees.
Aside from art exhibitions, Miko Banda sells his artworks through social media platforms. His current prices range from $50 to $800. Most of his clients are based in Europe, the US and Kenya.